Hello, welcome to Soulprint Pendulum Friday. Thank you very, very much for being here. We have some really good questions, and some of you guys are getting very good at really fining down the the questions so that they're really clear. Instead of asking one question, you're asking two or three, sort of around the same topic. Really cool. All right, let's get started. Two questions regarding Canadian politics. So first, Daniel Smith is apparently going to be meeting and I guess doing an interview with Tucker Carlson in Calgary this January. Um, and so the question is she actually going to do that? All right, so the pendulum's going side to side. It is now ready to talk. Pendulum, is Daniel Smith going to share the stage with Tucker Carlson come January? Okay, so back and forth, that's an absolute yes, she will. Anybody who lives here probably shouldn't be too surprised. As I've said before, she is Trump on heels. All right, next question. Is Canada going to go into a recession because of decisions Justin Trudeau has made? All right, so this is a very apt question because the growth came out for the first quarter and I guess it declined by 1.1%, which I guess is a lot when you're talking about billions and billions. Um, so let's ask, as of right now, is Canada likely to slide into a recession based on decisions made by Justin Trudeau? No. And this is the thing, right? Round and round, for those of you who may be new, is no. This is the thing. Um, it's just sort of the same as blaming the leader of a country for gas prices. Yep, they're responsible, or they can be responsible for doing what they can to bring it down. When it comes right down to it, it's OPEC that sets the price, right? So they leaders of countries tend to take a lot of static for stuff that in some ways they really don't have a great deal of control over. Here we go. Let's get cracking here on Trump. Does Trump ever wish that he never ran for president in the first place? Yes, looks like he does. I mean, because somewhere he must understand that he could have just been carrying on his merry old way. Will Trump be invited to Putin's funeral when it happens? Yes. So this is interesting because I'm not actually sure. Um, if Americans are actually allowed in Russia right now, of course, there would be exceptions for Putin's puppet. All right. And will Vladimir Putin attend Trump's funeral when that happens, if assuming both of these people are still alive at the other person's funeral? So will Putin attend Trump's? No. And listen, I think there's a really good reason for that. I'm pretty sure if he leaves Russia and certainly steps into one of the, I don't know, G7 countries, one of the or G12, whatever it is, he will be arrested for war crimes. Okay. So he ain't leaving the Russian borders anytime soon. All right. I haven't heard from Ron Johnson since he tried to give the fake electors to Pence. Does anybody know what's coming for him? Okay, so this isn't yes, no, but let's just sort of quickly zip into his. He's really tired. He's really done of this with this, and he would really like to just go off into the woodwork and just enough. I don't know if he's going to do that. He's been very quiet. I agree, but he still is very much a company man. And, I believe he didn't want to run the last time. Um, so I guess as it gets closer, as this next year sort of starts to unfold, I guess maybe we'll have a better idea. All right. Glenn Kushner said on Michael Cohen's show, the reason Trump is not in pre-trial detention is because prosecutors haven't submitted that request. That's accurate. I know that. Does Jack Smith want to detain Trump in jail before the J6 trial for violating pre-trial release conditions? No. Uh-uh. Um, you slap his butt in jail, and there are going to be appeals all over the place. He's going to be screaming about his political campaign being sabotaged. That would be, I know there are a whole lot of us kind of like to see him in that orange jumpsuit. It's not going to happen before that trial. And in fact, I'm not actually convinced. The next question is, will Jack eventually submit the request to Judge Chutkin to ask for his pre-trial detention? No. Will the January 6th case result in a mistrial? Is there going to be a mistrial on the January 6th case? This would be in Chutkin's court, hopefully starting in March. Okay, that's a no. Okay. If no, will the jury return a guilty verdict for Trump? That's a yes. If yes, will Judge Chutkin issue a harsh sentence in agreement with the recommended sentencing guidelines from the prosecutors of 20 years or more prison time? All right, so this is a yes. So will be a harsher sentence, perhaps, is he actually going to end up in a prison as we think of prisons where they send criminals? Is he going to end up in that kind of a facility? No, no. There's going to be some other um, arrangements made. Okay, and you know what? Everybody can get all upset because he's not being treated exactly like any other defendant, and I get that, but sometimes strictly following the rules like that can actually create more problems than they're worth. You have to remember there are still, whatever it is, um, 25, 30, 40 million people in your country who are staunch Trumpers. You don't want to get that many people angry at one time. You really don't. Um, will the documents case in Florida result in a mistrial? All right, so it's not moving. So, as you know, when the pendulum just doesn't move, it's because the energies haven't settled into an answer yet, or it's too soon. It's not our business. The universe doesn't want to talk about it. Any of the above. Um, but I am going to ask this. Is Judge Cannon going to end up presiding over that case for its duration? That's a no. Okay, so former NSA contractor, reality winner, was jailed for 5 years for transmitting national defense information. She served time in a federal medical center prison in Fort Worth, Texas, due to health issues. Will Trump serve jail time in a similar medical prison facility? Okay, I'm hearing the word yeah, but it's similar but not exact. There are 18 states with cases banning Trump from the ballot under the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Will the Supreme Court take the cases as they are appealed? Okay, so that's a yes. Now, unless I'm kind of wrong, could be, I think that if one of the cases makes it all the way up to the Supreme Court, the ruling will sort of impact the rest. They're not going to hear 18 separate cases. Um, I think once a decision is made, then it's sort of understood that whatever that decision is applies to the rest of them. I guess this is the easiest way to say it. Um, so, if yes, will the Supreme Court rule that Trump is ineligible to run on the ballot? Okay, so right now, the pendulum is not moving. They're literally showing me um, a picture of the Supreme Court justices as they sit in their chairs and stand for their picture, literally doing this: see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. They don't want it. They don't want to deal with this. Um, if it gets all the way up to them, they're not gonna have a choice. They're gonna have to deal with it. But man alive, they do not want to. Has House Speaker Mike Johnson cheated on his wife? Do we actually care? Now, I guess for those of you who care, the pendulum is saying yes. Okay. I would like to know if the American voter, will ever wise up and understand that electing billionaires or the puppets of billionaires will not lead to the billionaires trickling down wealth to the working class in the US. Are people going to start to understand that people with a great deal of money want to hold on to their money? And so any decisions that they make will profit those who are already very, very wealthy. Is this correct? Yes, not surprising. Will there come a time when the majority of the voting public comes to understand that wealthy business people are perhaps not the best option when it comes to the United States? Yes. All right. Will third party candidates throw the general election to 45? Now, listen, this is a possibility, right? If nobody gets to 270, um, and that's kind of what a third party candidate would do. It does cause a problem. I actually was watching Ellie Down Under, and she was talking about the fact that she found out that if nobody gets to 270, it is the House of Representatives that then votes in the president. Right now, there's a Republican House of Representatives. So who would they vote in? But let's not panic. And let's simply ask, will a third party candidate, okay, I'm going to rephrase this a little bit. Will a third party candidate be strong enough, be powerful enough to actually throw the election? No. Let's take that one. That's a good one. Is the intent of James Comer, the chair of the House Oversight Committee, to manipulate and distort the facts? Well, of course it is. That's his job. And so, of course, we all know that I'm not sure if this is the same committee. I think it is. That they want to talk to Hunter Biden. And she said, sure, I will come and talk to you publicly, put it on television. I'll be there. And of course, they're backing up and freaking out because the last time they put somebody on television, they looked like absolute idiots. And the thing did not go at all the way they anticipated it would go. And so they don't want his words out in the public domain. What they want is their interpretation of his words out in the public domain. Will James Comer fall out of favor with Fox News? Okay, let's shrink that down a bit. Will he fall out of favor with Fox News within, say, the next 6 months? Looks like a yes. I wonder if he's going to start spouting off enough disinformation that it's, Well, recently elected Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves finish his second term? Okay, that's a yes. I don't know for the people of Mississippi if that's good news or not. What's going on with DeSantis? Is the law going to finally catch up with him? Okay, so as we go forward, is DeSantis going to find himself in any sort of significant legal jeopardy? No. I want to ask this question. Are some of the laws that DeSantis put into place to facilitate a stronger Republican result, are any of those laws going to end up being, questioned, overruled, taken off the books? Yeah, I guess maybe some of them will be. Will the over gerrymandered maps of North Carolina be thrown out and give us a chance for North Carolina to go blue or purple in our next election? So, will the gerrymandered maps of North Carolina be redrawn so that they are more balanced? Right now, energy looks good for a yes. Did Melania Trump intend to make a statement by wearing the gray tweed coat to Rosalind Carter's memorial service? Yes. Anybody want to tell me what her statement was? It was a reflection for two things. One, she didn't know this lady, and so she feels that she was there as a former first lady, as a courtesy to another former first lady, but she in no way, shape, or form felt that she was in mourning of any kind. Um, she she felt that the gray was respectful, but without, I almost want to use without being a hypocrite. George Santos predicts he will be ousted from Congress soon. Okay, let's just ask if that's going to happen. Is that going to happen? Okay, yes. Now, I am recording this in Alberta, Mountain Time, at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. Now, apparently, I think that vote is supposed to take place sometimes today. So we'll see. Or so it'll be yesterday when you see this. So I guess we'll see what happens there. And if so, is he going to go quietly? No. All right. I'm going to answer this one. I really do try to stick to political questions, but I think this question has been asked twice, so I'm just going to answer it. P. Diddy settled with Casey regarding sexual assault. Will others come forward? Yes. Will he go to jail? And it's still. Will all of the surviving Hamas hostages end up being released? It's saying yes, let's keep our fingers crossed. Will the newscasters and media ever start to broadcast facts and not opinions again? So they do report facts. But it seems that what goes on, particularly in the United States, is those primetime hours are more opinion programming. So are they ever going to revert back to a drier, just simply fact-based broadcast? No. No. You know, in some ways, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Only because, politics is complicated. It's not easy. And I think if people are just given the facts, there may not be the will, the desire, the interest to take those facts to their logical conclusion and see what the significance of that is, what the ramifications of that is. Unless you have somebody who can explain it. Now, granted, they're going to explain it from the left or the right. Center would be lovely, but but I think just reciting facts in many ways doesn't give people some of the information I think that they need, and that they're not going to start finding out and researching themselves. Okay. Would you please ask your guides if all the landlords are going to get away with raising rent almost double with no warning? That's like a big problem out there. I don't know if the same thing is going on in Canada, but let's just focus on the States. Are those landlord really big rent increases? Are they going to be allowed to get away with it? Okay, that's a yes. Is there going to be any sort of government intervention or assistance to help people meet those costs? Okay, so that's a yes. So the landlords may very well be able to do that. But it's very possible that government at levels, at different levels, may step in to try to supplement the rent cost, that kind of thing. Are we ascending into the fifth dimension? And what does that mean? Another world? Question mark. Okay. First of all, we are ascending into the fourth dimension that will shift into the fifth. We are right now in the third, by and large. I think I've talked about this before. It may well be worth a reading to answer this. You're going to end up with people basically functioning on 2 or 3 different dimensions within the planet Earth. And so in some ways, their realities are going to be very, very different than somebody who's on a different dimension. We will, as we ascend and leave the planet, yes, there are a lot of people on planet Earth who will never return to planet Earth again. They're going to go off and live in other galaxies and in other planets with very, very different energy. You always have to remember that the Earth is set up for this constant shifting imbalance. All right. It was never meant to be static, nor was it meant to be a utopia. It has always been and will always remain this sort of influx, because there are important and valuable lessons, wisdoms, understandings to come to from that kind of an environment. So that's sort of the short answer to the question. I will probably do a longer length video to answer that question in more detail, sometimes in December. Okay, it's Friday. It's the weekend. Like always, do something good for yourself and someone else. Until next time, take care, be well, and thank you very, very much for being here.